Hello everyone, and yes, it's time again for Total Warcast. I'm Daily, reporting, well, almost live from the snowy tops of Norway. And yeah, it's been a while. It's been quite a while, and I'm sorry. I've been busy, traveling Europe, seeing sights, and being home, doing stuff. And actually today, I'm sorry to say, Leonidas will not be joining us, sadly. He has just moved to the UK to study. And he has, well, a full schedule for the most part, and same with me. So we're having trouble to find a good date, but hopefully thing will stabilize itself and he can join me. Today we have one of a little bit of special since the new DLC has dropped, and also we have a very special mod corner. And with me is Aanker. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, right. Apart from that spectacular hello there, I am Aanker, and I am the current temporary mod leader for the Great War mod, which you will know from Napoleon Total War. And I'm here with Daily to take part in this Total Warcast interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are, and it's good to have you. To be honest,
Thank you.
It's been a while since I've done a mod corner with interview of. Instead of just talking about the mod, we actually got the guy who's actually working on it, so it's a lot more information, so which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great opportunity to get in contact with the general people at TWC, and also for the mods to, exchange their ideas on the modding world and such.
Yeah. And actually the mod looks really good. Even Craig from Creative Assembly has said that looks really awesome. I want to see more of that. Which is cool. But yeah, we have a full show almost. We have Forum Frenzy as usual. What is gonna happen is I'm gonna talk about the Rise of the Samurai DLC, which I just dropped. I played it some. I have not played it a full campaign yet, so I don't have a full view of it or different families and stuff like that. But I have gotten a good, clear view of what I think of it so far. And too bad Aanker does not have Shogun 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you there, but I just haven't gotten around to buying it. I mean, I played the demo and was impressed, but sadly, no, that did not get onto my list.
Yeah, blasphemer! I should burn you on the the stake. It's alright. So you can just listen to me basically. You can just ask me questions if you want.
I could ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah,
I remember a couple of things from the Shogun 2 demo, so I guess I could use that as my standpoint.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so yeah, it's time for Forum Frenzy, the first one after I got back, and I feel like it's really good. Like I feel like home now. I'm home finally, and it's been. I shouldn't have postponed the Warcast so far, but we're finally back, and it's actually Aanker. This is supposed to be a weekly podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, it happens. Projects around TWC get delayed by real life, so to speak.
Yeah, it's we do this for free. It's community based. It's fun in a sense, but I'm not gonna sacrifice. Yeah, I had a lot of stuff going on. So, but at least we're here now, and hopefully I can stay on mainstream until I go to Australia in December. So every week then forward. Yeah, but at least we're here and we're gonna do Forum Frenzy, and I'm gonna talk about the new DLC. So, Rise of the Samurai has just dropped. I remember talking about this before I left with on Interrail, and Leonidas took over. The new DLC, which has been launched, it seems that many people are enjoying it so far, but. Well, some at least. There's some negativity as well, but yeah, the usual lynch mob is still there and are bickering as always. But what can you do? I feel that it gotten a lot of unfair negativity on, on the Shogun 2 general discussion. But yeah, well, we can deal with that after I talked a little bit about it. The DC, which you should know by now, is set 400 years before the time period which Shogun 2 is set. So it's basically in the name, Rise of the Samurai. This is the Emperor is losing his power over the people. So the very powerful families are going to take over the power in in Japan, which is like which the samurai is. It's basically uh, and it's set in this setting. You have three major families divided into six clans. So you have two. I don't remember the names now. It's Fujiwara is one of them, which is up like in the northernmost part of Japan. And then you have Tyra. Tyra, I think is. God damn it, Daily. You should remember this. This is bad. Whatever, Tyra, which I'm playing. Which is I'm playing one of the clans, which is more like the Mori, which have naval bonuses and stuff like that. Cheaper navy, which is. I love that. My favorite clan so far in Shogun 2 is Mori, which is a naval clan. It's basically. And this is a like epic struggle because the emperor of Japan is losing power, and these three families is gonna fight over power. It gives a quite good introduction when you start the new campaign, so you should listen to that if you start it. And basically, instead of a religion meter, you have now a family influence meter. So you have four new agents, and some of them work differently, but one of them is actually influencing different smaller clans that your family is greater, and you can convert the clans over to your family, so your family influence, and then you can ally with them. This is a cool feature, but I feel that it could be a little bit more elaborate. I feel it's kind of cheap in the sense that it's more like just a religion in a different sense, and you can just and it just makes people ally you. And I'm more of a guy who says might is right, so I just gonna conquer them anyhow. So I don't see the point of that, but still, that's just nitpicking for me. So I liked it in some sense, but still, whatever. You get 16 new land units spread across swordsmen, spearmen, archers, and cavalry. You have 4 new hero units, 10 new naval units, and new agents, which I talked about, that will greatly change the game experience that you have felt so far. And that's some of the things that I want to say is really positive about Rise of the Samurai, and that is that you get a new experience. It's really renews your Shogun 2 playability, and that's something I really enjoyed. Or my initial feeling at least. I really like the new setting, the new map, the way it looked. I had some problems with the little bars which represent the units. I don't know, you haven't played Shogun 2, Aanker, so
No, I haven't, but...
No.
Basically... You mean the little cards?
Yeah, little cards where you see... Yeah,
right.
Well, they have retarded faces on these. So I, had I was like, my daimyo, the leader of my clan, is a daimyo. It's a clan leader. He had this most retarded picture ever. I was like, come on. That's just horrible.
That's why you ask Cedric over at the graphics workshop to make an awesome UI mod for Shogun 2.
Yeah, he actually made my graphics for the Total Warcast. So.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
He's a bit everywhere across the TWC.
Yeah, he is. I was like, I love you, man. He said, no, just do my job. Yeah, but I still love you. He is great. I hope someone will go out because I didn't like their faces. I usually don't pick about that, but it was like. I open up the big screen when you get like the clan. You can see like the face of him, because you can give generals now. You can give, for example, different skills if you want him to be a fighter or you want him to be a leader.
Oh yeah, I saw that in the demo.
Yeah, basically, and you have this big picture where you see him. I was like, so looked at him and just, Christ, that's scary. But that's just nitpicking. Of course, that can be fixed. So I don't. That's just that doesn't matter. And also, the DLC in general pleased me, but I also had some problems with the trade nodes and that they didn't do something new with the resources. The thing is, you have trade nodes now. You have 5 different like anchor points in the sea, and if you set trade boats there, you can get trade income. For example, incense, or you can trade for war horses. It was just, as I've seen, it was exactly the same as it was with...
Napoleon and Empire?
No, exactly the same as it was with Shogun 2. Also, the Rise of the Samurai and the Shogun 2 was exactly the same, and I can understand it. It doesn't change that much, but I felt that I could have done so much more, especially with the resources, because it's now you can't have horses. You can actually have, but at least in Shogun 2, you can't have horses without actually importing war horses or have a stable, or you can't make superior weapons without having a access to iron, or
Yeah,
you
right.
and you can't, for example, build monk monasteries without incense, which is like this smoky thing, used
Yeah.
for rituals. And I feel that they could have done a lot more with this. With this, so it's more tactics involved when you start the game to actually
All right. So
choose.
you want like more resources?
No, not yeah. Basically, what I want is that it's more tactical, and you actually have to fight either fight or trade your way to get the different resources. It's more tactical. So, for example, damn it, I don't have a strong enough army. I need to ally with this guy and get iron so I can get better weapons. I just feel it should have played a more part, but that's just my nitpicking. Still,
Yeah, right.
it's not that relevant. It's just something I really want to see, and they didn't change it at all. So, well, it's not as I've seen, but yeah. So pluses, new campaign map, new land, hero and character and naval units, refreshed look with clans and placement, which makes the experience new. A lot of content, which is always good. And of course, the cons are some elements from Shogun 2, which easily could have been changed for the hell of it. For example, family influence and trade nodes. So basically, it's not that many negative things I got to say about it, and it's great. In my opinion, it's really great. And if you like Shogun 2, buy it for the heck of it. It's 80 Norwegian kroners, which is, I don't know, 70 Swedish.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Which would
it's
be about $10 or
yeah,
something.
yeah, and
Like,
it's 7 euros, 6.99 euros. So it's so it's But if you guys like Shogun 2 and you want a new experience with it without gun units and like a little bit more refreshed and try to get a new go at it with a new experience, I would seriously recommend Rise of the Samurai. If you don't like DLCs, like I don't, but and so don't buy it. Basically, you don't need it, to be honest, but it's fun. It's fun.
well, to my understand, you were saying something, right?
No, it's alright. Just
All right. Well, to my understanding, it doesn't seem to be as much DLC as it is an expansion in this case, which is something
Of course, it's an expansion, but in a sense, it is definition of it is DLCs because it's downloadable content.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, well,
it's an expansion, and that's why I bought it, because I've stated in different Total Warcast that I don't buy DLCs because I find it like the smaller DLCs with smaller content. For example, unit packs, I don't buy those.
yeah, right.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you value. I mean, if you like new skins and new appearances for your units in multiplayer, I guess it's, then you can buy it. But
Mm.
my reasoning, and I seem to be reasoning a little bit like you, is that unless it's some great game changer that improves the game in a radical way or introduces some new aspect of the game, it's not really worth it buying it as a DLC.
Mm. Yeah, but they changed actually enough for me this time around. I actually, because you had this huge Sega sale on Steam this last weekend or something. I can't remember what it was, but at least they had this huge Sega sale, and actually the DLCs. I think it was the DLCs which was already coming out, the Iko Clan and Sengoku Jidai unit pack came out, and I felt, and it was like 50% off or something, and yeah, I bought them. I feel so bad. I feel like I abandoned my principles, but it was. I stated that if it's a Steam sale and you get it for half the price or more, I'm gonna buy it because it renews the game experience.
Yeah.
In a sense, but yeah, it's kind of useless, to be honest. Like Iko Clan, it's like never. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit in the way that I don't see it as a moral problem, with DLC. I think it's a fair tactic used by the company, and especially since they didn't begin with it, they have to compete on a market, and to compete, you have to keep up with your, competition, and doing so involves selling DLC. So I don't blame them for the DLC morality.
No, of course not.
No,
But
of course. Um, but I don't even see the moral problem in DLC. It's mostly just, a value problem with me. I don't see the value in buying a skin pack for so and so many crowns or dollars. But if it's cheap enough, of course, then it might be worth it.
yeah, I totally agree. It's I'm more like the way that I don't like DLCs for a lot of reasons, and one of them is, for example, you split up. I talked about this in the first episode, which Leonidas joined me. We talked about DLCs. We kind of buried it completely in DLCs suck, consoles, and we just totally battled it. But the way I feel is that DLCs it's good for adding new content, but I also feel it's really changed, especially I think it's a little bit about consoles, because you can't make your own content for consoles. So the freedom for PC, which with mods and the stuff like that, it really falls off, and producers and they want to release new content, of course, for the game, and DLC is a great way to do that. But it's at the cost of something. And also, I don't, especially this is something also I don't like, is that they split up the multiplayer groups. That, for example, with the Sengoku Jedi pack, I don't know how it works. I bought it, but I haven't played multiplayer yet with it. But I would assume that it's like do you want to play with someone with the Sengoku Jedi pack, or do you want to do both? And I would assume that the guys who bought the Sengoku Jedi pack just want to play with their new content, and they doesn't want to play with the old units. And then it's like you split up a little bit of the multiplayer base. That's the way I feel, at least. I got that feeling, especially from other very much console games with map packs, for example. But we're not going. This is not a DLC show this time, so.
In CA's games, at least in multiplayer, when you have DLC, you can still play with that DLC with and against players without it.
Yeah, of course you can, but it's like, for example, if the host has map pack.
Oh yeah, you mean map packs now, alright.
Yeah, no, in the sense, I'm also talking about like if you split up the multiplayer group. I don't know, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it divides them with the Sengoku Jedi pack. I would assume so, that you have, for example, or you could just have two armies like saved. You have one where you play without it, and then you have one with, I don't know. That's the thing. I haven't played the multiplayer since I bought it, so I don't know how it works. And I don't know how it's gonna work with the Rise of the Samurai either. That's also something. If somebody just want to play Rise of the Samurai, and then there's someone playing Shogun 2, so. I know I feel it splits up the multiplayer players, but that's the way I feel it. But still, it's not about the DLC this time. So it's a topic I want to discuss more, but we're not gonna do that now because it's kind of big of a topic, and we talked for a while. Good, okay. So actually, basically, Rise of Samurai, good DLC, very good job, CA. I like the I forgot something. Music is really good as well, just so you know. Really good. I like it. Right. If you want a new experience, buy it. Basically, it's not that, and in difference to the value, the money I put into it, it's really worth it. So yeah, fun play. Yeah, and also, no, actually, I'm done. Okay, Aanker, we are actually. Moving to Mod Corner now.
Oh, alright. Yeah, this is my area.
Yeah, it is, actually. Yeah, okay, so today on Mod... Forum Frenzy, and then we're done with that now, and we actually moving to Mod Corner. So basically, today, we actually are gonna... kind of interview. You're just gonna talk, me and Aanker are gonna talk about the Great War, which is a mod for Napoleon Total War. It stretches from 1914 to 1980. The Great War is the First World War, you know. It covers the events of the First World War, and all the factions during this period is playable except two many nations, and it features tanks and artillery. So it's like, tanks! God.
Yeah, we got that response from a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
including
amazing.
Jack Lusted, I think. He
Yeah, and also Craig. I've seen
Oh,
him.
I think it was Craig then that
Yeah.
said get tanks.
Mm,
It was great to see such a response from CA.
yeah. So let's start with just the basic questions. How did you get into the Great War?
So, when the Great War started out in its very beginning on the Napoleon Total War general mod forums, I was just a mere multiplayer forum participant, I guess, and I just found the mod interesting, a project, with the Great War. It was revolutionary, it was new, it was a project that could stretch a lot of time and involve a lot of work, but in the end it could prove rewarding with new models and everything. So naturally, I just started to get involved in that, and I found it very, very interesting to participate in this project. And after a while, I started, perhaps contributing with the occasional unit like a flamethrower or a submachine gun unit. I remade the naval combat in the mod. Of course, now you can't get in naval models, but at least you can change the combat to a level that seems a little bit more World War-esque.
Mm.
And before I knew it, I was on the team.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's how I felt when I got into content stuff. It's like, what? What happened?
yeah, you do the occasional stuff at the beginning, and then you just get more and more involved until you're there and you lead a department.
Yeah. So you lead a department. Which one?
Well, I'm currently it's under discussion whether I'm going to lead the illustrator or the graphics competition department. We
Mm.
haven't really solved that out yet, but probably one of those two. Now, since Marcel was gone from content for a while, I've been put in charge of both the graphics competition and the illustrator. This, coupled with my schoolwork, has been quite a hefty task, which I must confess I haven't succeeded with completely. So
Yeah.
apologizes there.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, dude, it is not postponed the Warcast, so don't worry. It's
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I got guilt as well. The guilt, just oh my god, people depend on this, and then it's oh no,
yeah,
oh I feel so ashamed. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I understand.
yeah.
It's yeah, but at least, when did developing start for the mod, and who started it?
All right. So as I said, I joined the mod in its very beginnings, and back then it was led by Thoragoras, and he was a truly ancient modder, if I remember. He had been on TWC for a long time. I seem to recall. I think he was in Artifacts. No, he wasn't in Artifacts at the time it started. But anyway, he started the mod in the Napoleon Total War general mod forums, right when Napoleon Total War was launched. So I guess that was 2-3 years back.
Mm.
And the mod was originally just, changed a couple of stats, a little bit of shooting there, a little bit of artillery there. Didn't do much with the uniforms, and it was an innovative project, even though it wasn't, very fully developed. And it attracted a large crowd of people. I mean, that discussion forum we had back then, which was the main mod thread, just expanded catastrophically over a month or so. I mean, it went from 0 to 200 pages in a couple of weeks.
Mm.
Nowadays it's at 600 pages, but that's of course a couple of years later. So that's how the mod began. It was just a small project that grew as more members joined the team. Among them, Bedizzle, who is our current modeler, and Mitch, who right now is away in Wales, I think.
Oh,
But he
Wales.
was
Welsh? Isn't he Welshman or something?
yeah, he's Welsh, so
And
he's
he's
gone.
away in Wales. Okay, there's a joke in
Yeah,
there, but I'm not
he's
gonna go
gone
there.
to I think it's university or something like that.
Okay.
So
Oh.
he's got to work with some sort of project. He's still gonna be with us and help develop the start post, that is the campaign.
Mm.
But he placed me as the current mod team leader in his stead when he's away.
Okay.
But he was one of the ancient members of the mod, so that's how it started out. Thoragoras, Bedizzle, Mitch, and then I joined later.
Okay. Okay. It's a good. How many are you now, by the way, in the team?
Well, excluding the beta testers, which, by the way, constitute a large part of the team, I think we are Bedizzle, me, Mitch, King Sama, who is our main DB editor guy, and then with the beta testers, that's perhaps 4 other people. So 8, you might say.
Okay, I thought it was a lot more. So
Yeah, well, Jost left the team due to
okay,
various reasons, but he is still contributing in various ways to the team and has been a major contributor to the mod for a long time. So
okay,
I still count him on the team
okay,
unofficially.
okay. So you basically 8, 9 guys.
Yeah, 8 to 9 guys,
Okay,
of which 4 to 5 are actively working on the mod.
okay. Well, that sounds nice. Okay, so in the future, we're going to talk future. What can we expect for it? Like, for example, different uniforms, artillery. Maybe you mentioned to me before we started it's a scale system. Could you explain a little
Right.
bit for future?
So what we are doing right now is develop 5.0. That's the major update that's going to, erase all the previous work and just start out new, fresh, essentially. With 5.0, one of our goals was to make the mod more user-friendly and more accessible. And apart from introducing new artillery models, for instance the French 175mm and some Russian 105mm cannon, and a couple of new uniforms as well for the Germans and French and other nations, we wanted to add sort of freedom of choice to the mod that you didn't have before. Some people complain about historical accuracy in the mod. Some thought that the artillery was, in fact, a little bit too powerless for some reason. I don't know why.
We can go into that later. I got some questions about that. So
Yeah.
just go on.
but we got a lot of different opinions and a lot of different feedback on the subject. So we decided that, all right, we're gonna add a couple of options for players, and to do that we introduce, or rather we are introducing for 5.0, a launcher menu. And it will feature 4 different scale levels. Now, a scale is like a level of gameplay where you have a set amount of soldiers per regiment. So on the tiny scale, you might have 18 soldiers per unit, while on the huge scale, you might have, say, the current, I think it is 400 units per unit. And these scales also differ in gameplay. Some scales are more historical, like the operational scale, which focuses on the campaign play and how many units you have. That was very important during World War One. While the tiny scale more emphasizes tactical decisions and unit choice. So
Okay.
we have a lot of different options there, and together with the scale levels in the launcher menu, we're also going to have 2 different campaign options. We're going to dive into that more later. I just don't want to reveal too much now.
No,
But-
don't. So people can be excited for a future.
Yeah, exactly. We have a couple of surprises left, but that's definitely one of them.
Yeah. Okay, I just got Page on Steam, so I just gonna close that down. I got way too many. Sorry. There we go. Out.
Yeah, you hate it when your taskbar is flooded with stuff.
Yeah, I got. I think I have 15 different things up. It's almost filled up my bar, so I should clean up. It actually sounds really great, to be honest. So this launcher, it's like before you start a campaign, you just put in this text. For example, you want medium-sized regiments, and and then is it other options? For example, how powerful the artillery are, and
No, we don't have separate options for that.
Okay.
The thing is, that's in fact a great idea, but the problem is that the pack files that have to be kept together must be kept together. You don't want the pack files to interfere with each other, and there's the problem with artillery powerfulness. I mean, if we change the artillery stats, we might have to change something else, and then we just have to split the pack files up into several smaller files, and instantly the launcher gets more complicated.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so I got 2 questions now about like gameplay, because I have to say I have not tried it. I have to say I have not got it to work on my Napoleon for some strange, odd reason.
Right.
But at least I just want to know, how does tanks work? How did you get that to work?
Alright, so tanks, that's a quite long story. It began when we designed the American faction for update 4.6 way back in, I think that was before summer, way back.
Hmm.
4.5 even. And the tanks, the founding idea that made the tanks possible was that when we created the American artillery, we noticed that the artillery could move around without being pulled by horses.
Hmm.
Right, so the soldiers pulled by foot the cannons around.
Okay.
So what we did was we thought that, alright, if we replace the cannon model with a tank model, we instantly have a mobile tank unit. Of course, the tank unit can't shoot while moving, but historically during World War I that was largely impossible due to the terrain and also due to the lack of, I think that was suspension for the track, so you couldn't effectively aim while moving.
Okay.
And also, this enables us to get the tank destroyed before the crew dies, and conversely, the crew might die before the tank does.
Okay, so it just lays there inactive, and
it might even just go away on a...
Hello? Did you drop out? Aanker. Oh, come on.
Because it might be like when a soldier falls down on the lever that controls the tank, it might roll away. That was also discovered by chance.
Oh, okay. So it's like for example I'm just gonna use a random example, GTA 4. If you shoot a guy in the head who's driving, and then the car just off.
Yeah, it might continue driving. Yeah, I've encountered that once. So it's not that common, but it might happen.
That's actually quite cool. That's actually something it's something fun that happens very. Like, if it happens for the players, it's like, whoa, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, exactly. The tank just rolled off the map. There were a couple of drawbacks with this, though. For instance, we have to find a way to make the tank crew invulnerable while using the tank. Now, that might not be so hard, but also the tanks are, of course, working a little bit unexpectedly sometimes because they're behaving like artillery. But that's I think the possibilities of having them as artillery outweighs the negative sides of having them as artillery. For instance, machine guns. You can't have machine guns on, say, an elephant unit.
But you have machine guns in the game.
Yeah, we have machine guns in the game.
God,
and the
that's
tanks
amazing.
And we have two groups of tanks. Well, three groups of tanks, but two currently being tested. The first are the male tanks, and they use their cannons.
Okay.
And the second group are the female tanks, which use their machine guns to gun down infantry. So you essentially have a mobile, powerful, may I add, very powerful machine gun platform that you can move around on the battlefield and lay down withering fire on enemy infantry. I mean, it's really effective. You can just massacre enemy infantry formations in the open.
Damn.
So they bring a huge advantage to the player with tanks, which is what we want to achieve. The male tanks are more effective against other tanks. They have a high damage artillery projectile that causes a lot of impact damage. So they are your weapon of choice against female tanks. So you can have tank versus tank combat.
Okay, but is it like a squad, or is it one? Okay, do you control one and one tank, or is it like a squad? You have 4 tanks into one unit.
It depends on scale.
It depends on scale. Okay, so the scale depicts. Okay, so you can actually, because I was just wondering how that will look if you have 4 tanks together and then you try to guide them. They look kind of robotic if they move completely the same.
Yeah, that does look a little bit robotic, but the tanks. From my testing, when you have them, 3 tanks in a unit, it works well. It does have a few visual quirks and such, but it works well.
It looks good.
It looks decent. Yeah, it looks good.
Okay.
You can take screenshots with it.
I've seen some videos and such. It actually looks pretty cool, and you got machine guns and all that. That's actually, Okay, I want to just move to a question about trenches. Now, you talked about we mentioned, because me and Aanker, we talked about before we started this podcast. We talked a little bit about the questions and such, and we got into trenches. So can you explain a little bit, because that's a might be upcoming feature. So
it might be an upcoming feature. It depends a little bit on how the current situation evolves, and what we can do with the Warscape engine. Trenches, I cannot promise if they're coming to the Great War Update 5.0. It's largely an under development feature that we are trying to experiment with and see how best we can implement. In the worst case, they won't be in. In the best case, they will be in for fortress battles, replacing all fortress battles with trench battles.
Okay.
There is, of course, the intermediary route with replacing all the randomly generated battles with custom trench battles. But we really don't want to do that unless it's possible to do it some other way, because, we have to create a massive amount of maps if we want to have the same variety.
Yeah, okay. So you actually, what are you saying now? That to get trenches into the campaign, you have to redo every single map that's generated.
Well, the maps in the campaign, battle maps, are randomly generated, but it's possible to replace these randomly generated maps with, a couple of custom maps. So the game, instead of randomly generating the terrain, picks randomly from a roster of maps that you have made. So that's possible to do. But of course, we have to make a lot of maps to make it varied in that case.
Yeah, but of course. Okay, good. That sounds at least promising. There's a way, at least, and if there's a way, there's a it's a chance.
Poll on it. I've considered it for a long time. We've considered it within development, but we need to hold a poll on it to see what the mod users want. If trenches are more important than map variety, then obviously we have to do that.
Well, sounds brilliant. Okay, so I'm gonna move into a little bit of not historical accuracy, but I'm gonna ask a little bit because artillery. Is it really? I actually wrote this. The artillery, is it really as powerful as it were?
If it isn't as powerful as it were, it's more powerful than it were. I don't know exactly how powerful artillery was during World War One. I haven't checked the statistics properly. I think it was 60% of all casualties were caused by artillery.
Yeah.
But it's largely dependent on the battle and how they were used. In the Great War, currently artillery is absolutely decisive for the battle. We have it so that if you have an army of entirely made up of artillery, you will win. But for 5.0, we are redesigning this.
Okay. Yeah.
For the greater scale level, like the greatest, you will still have very powerful artillery, but for the lower scale levels, artillery will be more expensive and less powerful.
Okay. That sounds...
And also more varied. You will have field artillery with flatter trajectories, perhaps better suited to take out tanks. And you will have howitzers, which might be less accurate, but they will at least be able to shoot, over obstacles.
Yeah. Also, my question is it possible to use World War I tactics? And one of the tactics they used was that they bombed. Of course, you can micromanage this, but I was wondering if it's possible that it doesn't get team killed too fast. Is it you send your men forward and then you cover their
advance with artillery?
Yes, is that possible?
Like,
does the enemy shoot back through the smoke and such?
Oh yeah, they can, because the Warscape engine does not have, at least I don't think it has, line of sight.
No, I think not. So,
and even if it does, it probably doesn't have, smoke as one of its variables.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if it did, and that would definitely have been helpful if the enemy couldn't have shot through artillery barrages. But the only advantage so far of using artillery barrages to cover your advance is that you will soften the enemy up morally before you melee.
Yeah. I understand.
But the best way currently to do it is just bomb the enemy with artillery while your men are advancing, and then stop the barrage right before they're there, and then melee charge, or keep shooting.
Yeah.
It depends.
Is it many who play multiplayer on this mod?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons, which I can understand quite clearly, is that the balancing is a little bit, off.
Yeah.
As I said, with the artillery, it's very powerful. the Russian patriotic levy. I mean, I played a couple of multiplayer battles with a friend of mine,
Yeah.
4.6, and we came to the conclusion that the Soviet patriotic level was absolutely unstoppable.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, I managed to kill his patriotic levy with submachine gun units, but they're so powerful that you might just get overwhelmed. And we like that effect.
Is it many, or is it just they don't die?
Well, the patriotic levy consists of 1,000 soldiers.
Oh, damn! So it's
You
like
can
it's
have
it's
5
just an
units of
unstoppable wave of Russian troops.
Well, it's hard to stop, especially if you aren't tactical in your defense. If you just create one single line, they will punch through like a tank. That's what they are. I mean, the Soviets won't have a tank. They'll have the patriotic levy.
Is it Soviets or is it Russians?
Soviets.
Okay.
Because they can muster the entire population base. The serfs are turned free, so they can become soldiers.
Oh.
Uh,
I didn't think the Soviets got the power before in 1919.
They did not get power until what was it, when the Russian
1917?
Civil War ended?
17?
Yeah,
No.
1917 was the revolution, but it took a while before they could consolidate their power.
Yeah.
But Napoleon Total War is all about changing history, so they might get to power earlier.
Yeah.
They might be able to consolidate their power. It might be a lot of things.
It's like Red Alert 3, where Soviet
Yeah,
Union general
go
goes back in time and shoots Einstein.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if you want to, you can just start a campaign and have a revolution in 1914 if you want.
Okay. No, I'm there's not nitpicking there. I'm just wondering. Didn't remember the date for the revolution. But
Yeah, it's no problem. I mean, we are aware that we have a couple of them.
yeah, I just was curious. Okay, so it actually sounds really fun, to be honest. And you have like machine guns, and it sounds kind of bloody, in the sense that a lot of people. There's a lot of guys there. There's a lot of artillery. There's a machine gun.
Oh yeah, you will have a lot of casualties even if you're on the winning side.
Well, that was the Great War in basic sense. Casualties.
Yeah. Even if you play as the Germans, as the defender behind the trenches, you can easily have casualties of up to 50% from the artillery.
Okay.
Which illustrates a bit like how the Battle of the Somme worked, where the Germans took a lot of casualties from British artillery fire and the oncoming British towards the end. So it really keeps you at a stalemate in a multiplayer campaign, at least. I played one multiplayer campaign with the Great War, and it really did evolve a stalemate after a while, because you didn't dare advancing, because you would take such casualties that you couldn't, follow up the advance.
Yeah. Well, that's actually what the Great War was. It was just a stalemate.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's actually quite good to have that. But of course, it's boring. Just you can't go through.
We have to balance our historical, aspects of the stalemate with, gameplay features.
Yeah.
That's why we have the tactical scale, so you don't have to have massive casualties. You can win by tactical skill instead. And that's also why we have the normal scale, which in the future will be the recommended scale, where we balance historical accuracy more with gameplay.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds really good, actually. But what about turns? This is a 5 years period.
4-year period, yeah.
Yeah. And how does the turns work? How is it, like weeks or?
You have. I think it's 2 turns per month. So that's 2 times 12 times 4. 32, 64 turns, I think. Isn't it? 2 times 12. No, definitely not. Sorry, you didn't hear that.
No, I don't. Hey, don't look at me. I suck at math. I got the calculator right here if you want.
Yeah, right. Just 24 times 4. That's it. That's
24 times 4. This is embarrassing. Okay. 96 turns.
96 turns. Right.
I should have seen that coming. God damn it, math. I'm done with school, so yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm still studying at school. The problem is I'm getting so, blurred by all the advanced mathematics by now that I'm losing all the early math. I just can't count, 11 plus 4 takes 2 hours for me to figure out.
Do you got ligninger? Do you got that? Ligninger?
Like courses?
No. Ligninger, also it's a form of mathematics. It's a way that you calculate whatever. You don't know what it is. I just spoke Norwegian, so you guys know.
Norwegian, yeah.
Yeah. And Anchor is Swedish, so we got
Yeah, exactly. It's another Scandinavian Viking here
ja,
for
så
you.
vi kan faktisk snakke sånn som dette her, og så skjønner de andre ikke en ting.
Ja, precis. Jag kan höra vad du säger ungefär.
Ja, jeg skjønner det hva du sier, ja. Okay, basically we just spoke Swedish and Norwegian, so you don't know.
You could hear the difference there, hopefully.
Yeah, we just talked bad about you, listener, just so you know. Okay, so yeah, the mod sounds really interesting, and I would actually, if I can get it to work, I will definitely play it now.
Why is it not working?
I have no idea. I tried to launch it, and it just doesn't go up. I think I have to reinstall my Napoleon because I haven't. What can I say? I just reclaimed my files from Steam after I formatted my computer. So I think I have to just reinstall it, and then it's gonna work. But
Probably.
yeah,
Could be, a file there that
yeah,
messes things up.
exactly. So yeah, now the last question for this kind of interview. What is the goal of the Great War?
All right. The goal of the Great War is to continuously develop the Great War. That might sound a little bit blurry, but we really don't have an end goal. Instead, we work from the principle that we want to constantly develop this until, well, we can't say until when, because there's always going to be something, some small detail to try and improve, some new feature to try to implement, and that means it's a continuous evolution of the mod where we gradually improve it over time. Now, it's a little bit too early to speak of what happens after 5.0, but we've been talking about nation-specific patches that will introduce new uniforms and such, so you will see a lot of that after 5.0, we trying to improve details of the game, like uniforms and such.
Okay, oh, that sounds really nice. The new uniforms, that's because CA released that thing, right?
The uniforms are actually not related to that.
Okay.
DB files helped us confirm a lot of things that, we weren't really certain about before.
Okay.
We knew most of it, but some things we weren't certain about. And also the CA files, of course, helped us open some of the DB tables that we weren't able to open, I believe. But what the uniforms were based on was a lot of hard work on textures with the sort of Atlas system. All that's a bit of mod gibberish that you don't need to know. But the uniforms were actually in development already in 4.6 when 4.6 was released. You can see early pictures of the German uniforms and such.
Okay. Yeah, I saw some of it on the pictures on the forum. So
yeah. Also, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So the uniforms also, thanks to a new converter that was released, partly thanks to TC Topcat. You have to thank him a lot for this. Yeah. Now we can also have helmets and such in our mod.
Okay. Yeah, that's important because that's how I usually recognize the different time ages stuff. It's the hat.
Yeah, so exactly. We could represent the early period of the war quite well in terms of uniforms, but the latter era was a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But now it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Thanks to the converter. And also we can have new weapons in the game. That's also an important thing.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of work, to be honest.
It is a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of time. Now, previously we worked from a sort of deadline, if you will, but things didn't really turn out well when we did that. We had buggy releases, such as 4.5, if you remember. But since then, we've decided that we won't work from a deadline. Because we're so occupied in real life, we have to, find time where it is and then take our time to develop it so that it isn't full of bugs, it isn't rushed, so that it is a finely developed product.
Yeah, that's important. So this all sounds great. Is there anything you want to add at the end now that you want to say to anybody who's listening if they either haven't played the mod or they want to try it or something like that, or it's the people who have played it and you want to say something to them? Just knock yourself out. The stage is yours.
Right. Well, I would like to say that mod is so far the best representation you will get of World War One combat in a World War One, in on TWC. So if you want World War One combat, if you want to try out how the stalemate on the Western Front was and how deadly it was, and if you want to have a lot of fun blasting your enemies with artillery, then the Great War mod is definitely for you, and it's found in Napoleon Total War. But I also want to add this. I would, if I were you, I would wait for 5.0 to be released, because 4.5 and 4.6 do not represent what 5.0 will be like. 5.0 will be a completely new release with completely fresh DB tables and new systems.
Okay. Damn, I like blasting my enemies as well, so this sounds good. Yeah, I just want to thank you for being on here today. It was great, but we are not done yet, just
Yeah, speaking of blasting enemies, we have a new beta to discuss.
Yes, we do. And now it's time for the Tavern, the off-topic section. So if you don't like the off-topic section, yeah, just press the big X in the corner, up in the right corner. Yes, this is time for the Tavern, where we get drunk and talk about stuff. I already drink some beers, but Aanker hasn't got any, so I'm drinking for two.
I've got water, though, but that's not nearly good enough.
It's okay. Leonidas doesn't drink either on the Tavern. I'm the only one. It's like a really dull place at times.
Well, it's at least Scandinavian tradition to drink a couple of beers, but
Yeah, I know, but apparently
I feel like a traitor to our culture.
Yeah, don't worry. I should have warned you. But at least the Tavern. First topic is actually something it's not the blasting damage. We're gonna do that after this. I'm just gonna talk about the negativity on the forums. Now I forum lurk a lot. I did this when I started out with Warcast. I also posted a lot of stuff when I just started Warcast. I felt like I felt that I had something to contribute. But now, after a while, I'm starting to feel that redundancy where I feel, oh god, it's so much negativity that I don't feel like posting. I'm not afraid of getting bashed, trolled, or whatever. I don't know, it's just so much negativity, especially, like, for example, if CA says something or posts something and stuff like that. Now, I understand that people should show criticism, and yes, you should complain, of course. That's, like, the best way to improve stuff, but it's the way that some of it goes. It's repetitive, for the first thing, and the second one, it's not really, what we call it, nice, in the sense that, yeah. Let's go. Aanker, you know what I mean, right?
Exactly. This is something you see on all the current forums. I mean, it's a result of the fact that the Total War games have grown over the last couple of years, so a lot of people have gotten into the genre. Some of the people that were introduced to Rome Total War, for instance, are a little bit conservative and don't want to see change. Others want to see more change. There will always be a lot of disagreement on how the Total War games should work.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that in that large group of people who have something to say on the internet, which is about 99% of all people on the internet, you have this minority, very loud minority, might I add, that are very, very, very outspoken.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're insanely negative about precisely everything. We call them trolls, flamers, and I think also, haters.
Yeah, haters.
Exactly.
Yes.
We place them in that category, and, I just don't want to place them all in a generalized category, but in this case, a lot of the players that are complaining with rage, about the game belong in that group.
Yeah. I feel like bringing this up, it's like, it's a lot of negativity, I have to say, and I'm like, god damn it, isn't it possible to just have a normal conversation instead of just, for example, if Jack, for example, in interview between what Bush Belisarius had with Jack Lusted and Craig. Now, I don't remember names, I don't care, I just read the post, I try to get some information out of it and stuff. if it's really good and it's like somebody providing content, of course I will give the name of that. But if somebody writes negative, I'm never gonna hold them out against it because it's freedom of speech and blah 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 blah. But still, that one, it was like, you apparently see this as a way that TVC actually getting a better, closer relationship with CA, which is just better for us, because then we get exclusive interviews, for example, which I was so lucky. And then people just, oh, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done this? Oh, this is just sucky. You doesn't talk about anything. No, it's not. It's not about that. It's more about like getting, not to know, but more like building a relationship. And if you know the guys who work at, that's something I never actually experienced before. I don't know anybody else in any other game. I actually talked to one of the guys who worked on one of the games I love.
Yeah.
And that's something I never experienced before in any other game. So I feel like it's so wrong. I don't.
Yeah. I see your point, and you know, I agree. There's a lot of hate on the forums, but I don't necessarily think that's unnatural.
No.
Of course, developers make the occasional mistake. A lot of people agree that Empire Total War had its flaws when it was released. Even CA claimed that there was a lot of disappointment. They tried to correct that with Napoleon.
Putting it lightly, people are still
exactly.
pissed, you know. Oh god.
And they tried to correct that with Napoleon Total War. The result being that people claimed it was a fixed copy of Empire Total War and all that, which led to more hate. Not that it was, but you know how people work. They always try to find flaws.
Yes.
And that way, negativity just spawned across the forum. So naturally, when Shogun 2 came around, there was a lot of suspiciousness, a lot of hidden hatred between the lines when people were preparing for the game launch. Now, when the game was good, you know, what struck me first was that there was this sort of ominous silence on the forums on how Shogun 2 Total War wasn't the disastrous game that many wanted it, I believe.
Okay.
You know, it seemed as if people wanted it to be disastrous just so their negativism could be confirmed.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, I started my Total War Center, really, I just lurked beyond that, but when Shogun 2 came out, I actually started becoming active. And that's how I started with the Total Warcast on my own time. And I read a lot of, it was a lot of negativity, but that was unjustified. That was just talking about, you know, Empire and Empire this and Empire that. Just, what? This is Shogun 2. Shogun 2 is a polished, nice game. Why don't you like it? And I said that even on the podcast. Said, this is a good game. If you like Total War games, buy it. Christ, it's simple. You don't bash a game because it's wrong.
I can understand that people felt perhaps not scammed, but they felt disappointed with Empire Total War, that they paid money for a game that they had higher expectations for, and they were turned down. The problem is that the majority of those people were actually quite, you know, they realized that they had made the wrong move, so they didn't stroll about the TWC forums making posts about how sucky the Total War games have become, while a minority of them did. And of course, it's all right to complain about having been sort of, you know, feeling disappointment, but doing so for 3 years, I believe, is a little bit excessive, I think.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, at least I'm feeling they're on the right track now. They went a little smaller scale and they got Shogun 2 right, so
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
fine.
Shogun 2 felt right. That felt like a step in the right direction. It felt fresh as well.
Yeah, exactly. But at least that's my take on it. I just want to bring that out because I was a little bit surprised because people, they don't, like, what is this? You know, it's be positive instead of just being a hater. Christ, I'm a lover, you know, so I'm the opposite. I don't like actually insulting people either.
Problem is also that the haters ruin it for those who try to, you know, put forward serious criticism.
Yeah, exactly. And that, yeah, exactly.
You get so tired of pessimism and criticism that, you know, you tie every sort of pessimism with the haters. So they ruin it for everyone, not just for, you know, those who are optimistic, but also those who want to criticize on a serious level.
Exactly. But Yes, but I feel that we now we really like dull the theme. You want to go back to blasting enemies again?
I guess we should.
Yes. Okay, guys.
Maybe
So
it's our early access to blasting enemies until they get.
yes, you might have figured out what we're talking about. We're talking about the BF3 beta, which was recently opened. You have, of course, what do you call it? Paid for early access. You
Right?
paid,
Yeah, I
yeah,
pre-ordered on
pre-ordered the
our
game. Yes, same as me.
25th.
Yes, and I am having a blast playing this game.
Oh yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, of course we experienced the bugs in the first. Like you went through the map, and it was kind of map bugs, and you get disconnected all the time and such like that. And of course you have to use your web browser to actually connect the servers now instead of being inside the game, which kind of sucks. But still, it's a
I think we have a disagreement there, but yeah, all right, go on.
okay. We won't get into that, but at least the sound is really amazing. It's really when you just come into the game, you really get overtaken by fear of dying. You just drop to the ground, see, but it's I had a blast so far. At least I'm level 21, which is kind of high. I'm fearing. You're what level are you?
Yeah, I'm a meager level 10. I'm just decent level 10. I think that's a good level.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just
You
that I'm a nerd, So
Yeah, I haven't had much time to play the game though, so.
yeah. But at least, okay, so let's just move right into it since you were opposing me here. Territory.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
but
Whoa.
what?
The web
what-
browser, seriously, they can't have this. Okay, of course they're gonna have it because they tried it with Play for Free. So it's obviously a system which they're gonna have in it. And yeah, I agree, it's a good system to play with your friends, and it's like almost like Facebook, and you update statuses and you can look at your stats. But
Or just
I don't really care about that. I feel it's I feel it's buggy the way that you join. I feel that you don't get a clear picture, and I feel it's kind of messy in the sense that when you join servers and stuff like that. But that's just my opinion. I
yeah, the
feel
server browser could get better.
yeah, but
That I agree on.
yes, good. But you feel it's nice or what?
I think it's good. It's not optimal. Perhaps an in-game server browser would have been better, but the fact that you can connect to your teammates encourages team play because you can instantly just like agree on, all right, let's join up and just fight it out in this battle together. Let's keep track on our platoon, which is the new clan system. You have the forums, you have the news. I mean, everything is centralized around the web page. Now, I think that's good. There are a couple of bugs, admittedly. For instance, joining might be a problem. I believe you've encountered a
Might.
couple. Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely is a problem currently, but it's a beta, so
yeah,
that's
of course,
acceptable.
of course. It's not that I don't talk about. I just didn't like this. That I have to log into my Origin account,
And then internet.
and then
Well,
have my web browser up,
yeah, in
and
fact,
then I have to get my game up. I feel it's not just so. It's
I'm gonna bet. I'm not willing to place a bet, but I think that the web browser is about as quick as having the server browser inside the game. Because you
yeah,
have to
it's
start up
fast.
the
It's
game. That
fast.
takes
Yes, I can't complain that it's really fast updating, but it's kind of buggy in the sense that it doesn't. That's just showing servers because the different servers are a little bit buggy because it doesn't. It says that it's not full, and then you can't see it, and then mostly use quick match.
Oh yeah. The server browser needs to get better. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
That definitely. I'd like to see the filter options a little bit more obvious,
Hmm.
and also, I mean, the way the player numbers are updated, that needs to get better.
Yeah.
But I guess the fact that when we have more servers, it won't be as full all the time as it currently.
Yeah, because there's a
Currently, I
lot of
guess-
people playing the
I
thing.
can see a lot of servers that have like 26 of 32 players. So right now, it doesn't seem to be as full as it was when the beta went open.
Yeah, it's a lot of people playing, so which is good because there's a lot of noobs.
Also, a lot of my negative impression for this game came when we started the 48-hour early beta, and you were forced to face all the waves of bugs that was coupled with the beta launching.
Well, of course it is because we were the forefront. We were on the front lines battling the bugs, But to be honest, the gameplay was solid.
Yeah, definitely.
The first 2 hours I played of this game was absolutely perfect in the sense, since it was beta, I didn't have that much problem with it. And I have to say, god damn, what an experience. I had a friend here, which was staying over, and I was like screaming, but holy shit, oh man, like jumping away and C4ing everything, and it was just goddamn fun.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that's the great advantage of the new server browser. That's the fact that you can in an easier way, you can play with your friends like you did. But the gameplay itself, I am, it met my expectations. I felt that it was good.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more Bad Company 2 than Battlefield 2, admittedly. And there was a little bit less destruction than you might have thought, but
they turned it off in they brag a lot, about the destruction and such. Now
yeah, I think Operation Metro was the wrong map to showcase the beta.
Yeah.
I think they should have went the Caspian border for everyone, because it seems as though Operation Metro...
The passwords are released, so you can play Caspian border.
Yeah, they closed down Caspian border servers. The testing is done.
Oh, that sucks.
But they said they had a surprise up their sleeve, so they might just release it, later.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hopefully, because Operation Metro, which is an infantry-only map,
yeah,
feels a little bit like it's trying to cater the audience that likes intense infantry combat rather than large-scale vehicle combat.
But that's actually something I want to comment on as well, because Battlefield series are known for these huge battles, with helicopters, jets, and tanks. But Operation Metro was actually a lot of fun for me. Now,
even though it was a tight infantry map, I felt that as well, that it was interesting.
Yeah, because it's not that it's just very intense and fun, You have it's just fun, for God's sake. You're killing people, and they kill you, and you laugh and ha ha ha, and then you duck and you get shot, and it's like really, it's really fun, to be honest. It's really intense, and you get like this feeling that, and of course the graphics are just. And even I'm not on high, it's very default setting.
I'm playing on low settings, and it just it flows well, it plays well, and looks good, even though it's on low settings.
Yeah. I'm playing on higher, and it's gorgeous. I mean, they really did so. But yeah, it's a little bit, because I tried with the destructible things, and yeah, it's a little bit. I think they haven't. I hope it's gonna be more destructible, because me and my friend. Other friend, I played with a lot of guys, but we actually I put C4 on the wall right behind where you plant the bomb, right, in Operation Metro,
yeah.
on the last part in that building, and we put C4 right behind it, and we thought we were gonna try to blow through so we can just jump in it and just plant a bomb, but that didn't go. Because it was a part of the building. It was not outside, because the outside get blown up eventually, but you throw enough at it, and but the insides just stay there, as it did on Bad Company 2 as well, where you blew up this little shack, and then the framework still was there. It kind of ruins the experience, but still you can't have the whole house falling down,
Yeah, some of the destruction was a little bit underwhelming. There was, of course, some destruction on the level. You could blow up the walls of the houses in the final, rush, and some of the walls in the subway. But I think a reason why there's not so much destruction in Operation Metro is because, first of all, the first part of the map is played out in a park. Now, you have a lot of trees there, and the trees can be destroyed.
Yeah.
But you don't have any buildings or anything that you can demonstrate destruction on.
No.
Then you get down into the subway. Now, obviously, you can't have a 3D volume destruction thing, because that would be very demanding on the engine if you were to blow away the rock around the subway. So that's hard to do. And also, the final level where you have the two buildings, the buildings are directly limiting the play area. So if you could raise them, you would make it more difficult for the defenders or the attackers, I believe, to take over the area. So, I mean, it would be unbalanced if the final part of the game, which is essentially the only part of the map where you can have any sort of major destruction, if that could be destructible.
Yeah, but yeah, of course, it's weird. It just annoyed me because oh come on, can we get through this wall? And no, it didn't. So it was, but I'm happy so far. So I'm. You want to play some after this?
Yeah, I guess we could. I've been working a bit on this game.
Oh yeah, sure. You can just finish that. I'm staying up late, so.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not a problem. I finished 2 background pictures so far, so that looks good.
Yeah. Okay. So that finish ups are about BF3. It's really fun. If you guys want to, you should
definitely try it out.
Yeah. You should. It's great fun, and I already bought it, and I don't regret it 1 second. I can't wait to get into this game.
Yeah, I just went for jets.
Yes, I tried one. I tried actually flying jets.
Oh, was it great? Was it epic?
I crashed into field. Oh, so immediately. It's not that hard to control. It's quite easy, but it's a little bit it's a little bit hard to get used to. But I just tried once, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna connect my joystick to the game and just kill enemy jets.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. So yeah, that was the BF3 beta. Check it out, guys, if you want. And now, actually, I want to talk a little bit about the trip because I've been on Europe trip for a month with 2 friends, and I've seen so much. It's a tavern, so I have to talk about beer, of course. So I can just say I tasted 24 different beers that I know of. I think I tasted more, but it was quite delicious. It was a delicious. We even ate in Monte Carlo in Monaco for almost 600 kroners each. So it's like, that was fun. So Aanker, you actually told me that you were
I've traveled a lot in Europe. Seen a lot of places.
You've been to Switzerland?
Switzerland, yes, but not stayed there for a longer time. We just traveled through. So I've been to Switzerland, but not stayed in Switzerland.
Where in Switzerland did you go through?
I think it was. Oh man, I don't remember. There's this famous pass across the Alps from Italy into Switzerland, I believe.
Okay, so it's a little bit south and to the east than where I was. I was in Montreux, I think it was.
I don't know where that is.
No, it's Lac Léman, which is a lake near Geneva. We stayed at the end of that one to the right, and up there in Grueres and Molisson, and then we had the last night in Montreux. So,
speaking of European countries, you were of course traveling by train, so yeah. I can imagine you mostly saw a lot of the metropolitan areas. But one thing I really can recommend is going through Europe by car, because then you can see Europe from its rural perspective.
I agree. I can say that.
Did you see anything from the rural perspective? Rural France can be outright amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly what we actually missed some. That's why when we got to Switzerland, we were because then we took the small trains up to Grueres, which is like. And we were like, whoa, look at the nature. We were like, it was so quiet as well. It was something I sat down, and for the first part of 3 weeks, I was like, it's silent. I can't hear cars, I can't hear noise, I can't hear gunshots. No, I didn't hear any gunshots, but still. And it was really good. Switzerland was my favorite country almost, because it's so different. But also, I've seen so much. In the end, you get kind of tired of all the buildings. That's what I have to say. It's when you see you want to Rome, you were in Venice, you were in. I was in Vienna, Berlin, Paris, Madrid. In the end, you were just buildings, hooray! And the only buildings actually that after that actually gave me it was the Eiffel Tower, which was really great. That was really fun getting up there. And I got height. I'm afraid of heights, so it's like bravery at the top. But yeah.
Yeah, you had to tackle your inner fears.
Yes, yeah. And my friends laughed at me all the way up. So, but I did it.
I have to admit, I'm a little bit afraid of heights as well.
Yeah. They went
So
they went to Disneyland, and I actually went because they've been there before. So I stayed in Paris and like sightseed around while they went to Disneyland. So if to it's not to like hug Mickey Mouse. It was for because of the roller coasters. So and I don't like roller coasters either. So
I don't like roller coasters.
yeah, good. I like that. That's amazing. So yeah.
I love roller coasters, by the way.
You love?
Roller coasters, yeah.
Oh, I don't like them at all. I hate them.
Roller coasters are alright. Some other attractions, at fun parks. I don't know what you call them. Entertainment parks. What is it? Well, anyway, they're quite scary. When you're swinged around 100 feet above ground. But roller coasters are alright because you feel safer inside that little capsule.
Yeah, I don't feel safer inside them. I feel like like the first top where you go up, and then like the first one where you're actually gonna fall. That's like I get anxiety attacks. I'm like, I was just screaming and just come on, let me out. I freak out immediately. I'm quite a heavy guy, so it's like really like my brother always teases me like you look like a gorilla locked in a cage trying to get out. That's yeah, but yeah, the trip was...
That's mean. That's mean.
What?
You look like a gorilla.
No, I don't. No, not in the shape, but in the whatever. I'm not a good. What? What are we talking about? Okay, we were talking about the trip. Yeah.
Europe. Yeah.
Europe. Yeah. Good. I mean, I wasn't in Eastern Europe. I think you should actually go there if you want to get drunk and get, laid, basically. Yeah, we had a lot of party. We partied in, for example, Barcelona was actually the heaviest, and I got completely hammered. And also we got drunk. We got drunk like almost like every third night or something. But it was like Barcelona and the Molisson in Switzerland, which was like the top, where you just blacked completely out. And the next day was like hell. And when you have to get up, you have to check out at 10. You have to check out at 10 after hostels, and then we had to go to. And I promise you, hungover when going on Interrail. Worst idea ever because it's hell. Ugh. But yeah, and it was a lot of fun. Did pub crawls and stuff. So we experienced a lot, and that's important. So yeah, I could tell for hours about all the experience, but we actually have surpassed an hour now on the podcast, and I feel a little bit...
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. I mean, we've been floating on like a rampaging ship on the Mediterranean.
Yes, like a log down a river. And it's been fun, Aanker. It's
definitely. I've enjoyed this podcast a lot. It's been interesting, and it's been a very good time talking to you, Daly.
Yeah, it's been very fun having you on, and I hope you will maybe join us later, because we actually trying to get the guest segment up, and we want people from TVC on. But now you had your turn now, but you might get a chance later.
I shall return.
Yes, I hope so at least. But at least, guys...
Oh, I hope so as well. This was a great time, so...
Yeah, it was really great. But at least, guys, all you listeners, this was the Total Warcast. I had the great pleasure of talking to Aanker this fine Friday night or evening. And I'm Daly. And this was the Total Warcast. And I want to thank everyone for listening. And... it's gonna be updated on YouTube as usual now. Podomatic, it's a little bit tough, but on the bandwidth stuff. So yeah, thank you, Aanker, and say goodbye.
Thank you, Daly, and bye, folks.